And that is Broke Millionaires by Brenda Zedder-Redido, and that forms the basis of our conversation tonight. We want to make heads or tails of this situation, why it has drawn on for so long, and we might point fingers at the economic times, but this seems to have been happening for over a decade plus. And we have in studio voices that are going to shed more light on this matter. I'll start off by introducing the guest in studio with me, Simon Gichuki, who is the Secretary General Association of Public Supplies. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. We also have the Controller of Budget, who's joining us via, not via Zoom, but we have a camera sent to her earlier on, so she's joining us live from Nairobi, Margaret Nyakango. We also have Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza, who's joining us also live all the way from Kakamega, and they're representing pockets of people who have been represented in that particular story, who have a say in this particular issue, and of course will help us understand why we are having businesses crumbling, even though we are having very entrepreneurial spirits behind the endeavors of these tenders and giving business to doing business with government, but of course suffering for it. Unfortunately, as we have been told, some have lost their lives to depression, some have committed suicide, and some are suffering very debilitating health issues because of this particular problem. Now, thank you so much. I'd like to start with you here in studio. You're Simon Gichuki. Just paint a picture for us, because you are coming from the business side of things. Explain to our viewers what it's like to be to give your all, to give your savings, or even take a loan and then channel it to a government entity such as the county government or even the national government, and in hopes of getting benefits, and then suddenly you're having to spend years on end waiting.
First of all, thank you for having me, and I think this is amazing. We all must appreciate that over years the government has been putting effort in ensuring that everyone who has entrepreneurial skills can set up a business, can bring up the idea and supply, whether it's the national government, county government, the parastatals and the likes. And once you do that, you're looking at two things. You're either supplying government with services or you're supplying goods. If you look at our Kenyan budget, and let's put it at whatever 3 trillion, once you reduce the loans and the salaries that we will pay to the public servants, every other money will be either spent to development or services here and there. Yes. So we're looking at a huge amount of money that will be tendered to. And Kenyans are very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
So they will set up companies, they'll set up businesses with the sole aim of providing goods. A very small chunk of businesses are what we would call bad businesses. A huge chunk are honest earning businesses that employ hundreds of thousands of Kenyans. These are guys who supply consultancy services, supply goods in government institutions, and offer consultancy services. These are people who went to school, got the necessary experience, and set up shop, and decided now, instead of being employed or got employed over time, let me set up a business to offer services to governments. And they do so in the belief that there's one thing that is always constant, that the government of Kenya or the county government or the parastatals are going concern. So you don't supply because you know the PS or the CS or the chief officer or the governor. No, you supply because a tender was floated and you could offer the service, and you qualified and you offered the service.
Yes.
It didn't matter who was the governor, it didn't matter who was the PS, it didn't matter who was the head of state, it didn't matter who was the CEO of that parastatal, but you knew the moment you supply in good faith, you'll also be paid in good faith. What people fail to realize is, in a third world country, the biggest buyer is the government.
Yes.
That basically means that even here where we are, the biggest advertiser is government.
For sure.
So should they not pay standard, standard will not complain to the private sector, they'll complain to the government of the day. So what we look at every single day when we go to the office is people honestly do a living supplying government, and they don't get paid.
Yeah. And
if you look at the reasons left, right, and center, you'll actually realize these reasons boil down to bad governance.
Okay.
To the people who've been given the powers. And allow me to comment this, because when I saw who else will be on the panel, I was actually very impressed, because I wish it was another governor, because His Excellency runs one of the most efficient counties. They pay on time.
Yes.
If it was another governor, I wouldn't mention which county, I would have actually asked them point blank why exactly I'm not paying.
Okay.
But my friend there pays on time. So does the control of budget. They do it on time.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem we have with these pending bills is, one, we need to actually embrace the fact that they are there. And the control of budget will not allow you to pay unless it was budgeted for. So the first question we need to ask ourselves, why haven't we ever made it as a fast charge of budgets done either by counties or by national government?
Okay.
Because no government will come in and say, let me own up this, unless it's a fast charge.
Indeed.
So as an association, we are alive to the fact that His Excellency the President has agreed to set up the committee. We are hoping that it actually starts work. And most importantly, we are hoping that when they agree to put it up, they'll actually set up the right amount and push the right laws in Parliament, so that it can actually be a charge.
Right.
Known as the same way we have a roads budget, now we have a pending bills budget.
Okay.
Only then shall people take responsibility.
Okay, so in your view, it's a matter of bad governance as well as a policy issue, because if these are put right, then everything will be streamlined.
The third thing I would add would be personal liability.
Okay.
Because I think at some point they put the fact that when you get a job, there's someone who is liable to ensure that you supplied whatever rent you paid. Do we ever hold these people into account? Do you ever sit down and ask, you are the PS at this time, or you are the chief officer, or you are the CEO, why exactly didn't you pay?
Yes.
But remember, when today I'm